Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all of you for your service to our country and also the men and women that serve under you that allow us to live in the greatest country in the world. I want to focus on Section 702 in FISA, which has already been talked about. Over the last 15 months, this committee under Chairman Turner has looked at how do we fix and reform 702 and the statutory obligation that we have going back to 2008 when 702 was created. Every 5 years, we figure out what we revise, what we fix, how do we make 702 better. We did that in 2013, we did that in 2018, and now we have an obligation and responsibility to do it this time. We focused on 3 different areas on how to do that. One, how do we hold the FBI accountable in making sure that the abuses that have been articulated over the last 5 or 6 years don't happen again? Secondarily, how do we make sure that what happened with Crossfire Hurricane and Carter Page never happens again? And thirdly, how do we bring more transparency and openness to the FISA court to open up a little bit more? Our bill that we put together does exactly that. We reduced by 90% the amount of FBI agents and analysts that can do U.S. person queries. We prohibit the FBI from querying for evidence of a crime. We create specific criminal penalties and punitive measures for 702 leaks. We make the FBI, FBI compensation contingent on all query compliance. We mandate independent audits of all FBI U.S. person queries, and we prohibit queries to suppress Americans' political opinions or religious beliefs. On making sure what happened in Crossfire Hurricane never happens again, we create enhanced criminal penalties for those that violate FISA, leak FISA applications, or lie to the FISA court. We give the FISA court the authority to prosecute for contempt, and we prohibit the use of political opposition research and press reports to get a FISA order. Lastly, on the FISA court, for the first time ever, we now mandate transcripts for what goes on in the FISA court. We assign counsel to scrutinize U.S. person surveillance applications, and we require the same FISA court judge to rule on surveillance extensions. Those are the reforms that, and the feedback that we got from personnel on how we fix this process. And I would like to submit for the record, Mr. Chairman, a letter to Speaker Johnson on December 7th, 2023, that supports our bill from Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State and Director of National Intelligence, John Radcliffe, Devin Nunes, William Barr, and Robert O'Brien, in which they say that Section 702 must be reauthorized, and they also go on to say that putting a warrant requirement in there is not what they recommend. If I could submit that for the record.
Objection.
There is no doubt that the value from a national security standpoint for what 702 has brought to this country is immense over the last 15 plus years. We have some that would want a warrant requirement as a part of this. In my view, that would be detrimental to 702 and the work that we've done. Director Wray, can you comment on what the warrant requirement would do to the work that you're engaged in?
So, Congressman, a warrant requirement would effectively gut the FBI's ability to use 702 to protect Americans wherever it was applied. The reality is that at the stage of an investigation where we are running these queries, it is only after we review the information that we query. Again, this is information that's already lawfully in our holdings that we're looking at when we do that. That's when we know that there may be probable cause that there's an agent of a foreign power. And so the key is to put us in a position to make sure that we continue to stay in a position where we have that agility up front. There was an example just recently where we had information that a foreign terrorist was in contact, some kind of contact, with a person believed to be in the United States. We didn't know what the nature of the contact is, but we knew that that was something that caused us interest. Now, we would not have had probable cause at that point to get a warrant to run the query, but we run that U.S. person identifying information through our holdings, and that's what allowed us to look at the content, which then suddenly showed us, whoa, this is serious, this is urgent. And within a few weeks, I think less than a month, we had disrupted an attack where it turned out the individual had weapons, bomb-making components, and other information in his home. That would never have happened without 702, and it would never have happened with a warrant requirement.
I want to switch. When we think about how essential and existential 702 has been, when I think over the last 9 years, and this will go to Director Burns, I think about instances like the taking out of al-Zawahiri, the al-Qaeda leader in Kabul. I think about taking out General Soleimani, the Iranian general, al-Baghdadi, the leader of Islamic State of Iraq, al-Sudani, the ISIS leader in Somalia, and of course Osama bin Laden. Just 5 instances over the last 9 years. Director Burns, can you talk about how essential 702 was in general for those instances and other counterterrorism actions?
Well, it was crucial in each of the areas that you mentioned, and in another area when in 2022 the United States took out both Zawahiri in Kabul, but also the Haji Abdullah, the then emir of ISIS as well. And 702 was also crucial in that operation as well. And as you know, Congressman, well beyond CT, including in the fentanyl crisis, 702 has been absolutely crucial. Last year, for example, 70% of the successful CIA disruptions of illicit synthetic drug operations came as a result of 702. So there's an expanding area of concerns and threats that are crucial to the protection of Americans that hinge on the successful application of 702 with the reforms that I know you are rightly working on.
Thank you.